like the pumpkin and sweet
my goal.
potato stuff.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I gave her a clear communication
What's he doing?
that said,
What's he doing?
this is mine and you can't have it. Nope. Right? Just in the same way as I did with you. So there's an entire pile, if you can't see on the camera.
I can see it.
There's an entire pile of food right here. She does like it. We gave her one. And now I told her that it's not hers to have. Right? And I did that by making a communication. Now, if I was doing the same to you, the most intense that I could be and most clear that I could be in this situation is I put the thing that's mine either to my back or I stand over the top of it. One of the two. This is like a dog guarding a bone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just envision that. You're going to see it. And then I'm going to look at you and say, you are the one that cannot have this. Right? You feel that. And it doesn't require me saying that. I'm saying it for the illustration. But if I do this, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't take anything. It doesn't take...
I use that a lot.
Right. So that's just a claiming behavior. And so what we do, now it can be so clear that I can come over here and sit down and she respects me because I've been someone who's demanded respect from her this whole time. And now she is looking over at that food saying, man, I'd really like to go get that, but I can't because it's not mine.
That's amazing.
Right.
Normally she'd be right at that.
Right.
Oh,
And that's what all these things do, is that I start the process off when I come to these lessons and I act as a person who expects respect from the dog. And you don't get access to me until you give me respect, because that's the order. We learn discipline, then spoil. Right? You get all the things that you want, but you have to be able to handle them. Most of the people who win the lottery are bankrupt within, 75% of them are bankrupt within 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious. That's a real statistic. Most people who win the lottery go bankrupt, and a lot of them commit suicide because they don't have the discipline necessary to bear the burden of that much wealth.
Yeah.
Right?
I can see that. Yeah.
Right? And so that's the thing. Everybody's like, well, I hope I win the lottery. I'm like, man, I really hope you don't. I like you. Like, I think you're pretty awesome, and I'd really rather keep you around because that's the thing. Anyway, the point being is what we want to do is we just want to expect respect, and then we can give that respect to other things, including people, cats, food, boundaries, barriers, and we can teach the dog that this is not allowed. And then the dog goes, okay, I understand that clearly, and I also know that I've never really won any battles with you. If you wanted it and I didn't, you got what you want. Now, that didn't mean that I had to fight her hard in order to get what I want. I just was persistent. Was consistent, persistent, and I did whatever was necessary to get the response that I needed. And everything with her, it's very, very light, very gentle. And now, as she's done that, and she's being very respectful for it, I want to let her know that this is not just torture. I'm not just doing this to...
Oh, good.
And now she's like, wait a minute, there's a game to be played here. And there's something that I did right because he rewarded me. Animals do not give other animals food in nature without them doing something that they want. It's just not a thing. You don't just give up your food. Right? So if I give her any food, she thinks that means something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And she's right. It does mean something. And what I'm telling her right now is that I like the behavior that you're doing. When this food is laying down on the ground, I like the fact that you're laying over there, or you're not doing something. Now you see, a little bit of food causes a little bit more encouragement. She tries new things, right? And as long as she maintains the boundary and respect of the food there, then she won't be addressed. If she doesn't respect it, she'll be addressed in the minimal amount necessary, and I will just stay on top of it. Now, that being said, me leaving this down 24/7 when I go to the bathroom is a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Because I can't ensure that my rules still apply.
Yeah.
Because when I make a rule for my dog, it's not a rule for my dog. It's a rule for me. I'm responsible for it. The dog just keeps getting the information. I keep cheating and passing the test for her. And I keep giving her bigger and bigger tests, but then I pass them for her until it gets to the point where the test gets so big that I can't make the test any bigger, and she just passes them anyway. right? That's the deal. That sounds weird because that's exactly antithetical to what we usually think. Is that a test is something that you should fail, right? No, a test is something that I want you to pass.
No.
Right? And that's when we think about it that way. That's the first time I've ever said that, and I'm really happy that it's going to be on camera. But
Then you can look at it yourself and
Yeah.
remember.
right, I always come up with new things, and the reason that I get to keep coming up with new ways of explaining these things is because this is just truth. It's not an opinion. It's not anything that really changes in life, and it applies to everything. I had a kid that was back. He was back from Christmas break while I was training his dog. His mom had hired me to train his dog while he was in basic training, and he came back, and the kid was a sergeant in no time. And I talked to him about military stuff because I was military, and I talked to him about how all these things apply. Nope. Right? So I put myself between, I came at her. That's the formula. And now she goes, wait a minute. Okay, so he means it. He's following through with it, so I guess that's it. So I guess I just don't get the treats.
So I'll just lay down here.
And now she can come and lay down. And I'm going to reward her for it.
Oh, look
Right?
there.
So that means when food comes out, I go over and I lay quietly and I might get some.
Do you see what the peanut butter does?
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the reasons why they like using it is because it's hard to process, and so they get more taste, and so therefore it causes more reward.
She loves her peanut butter.
So
I didn't know.
in efforts of not wasting all of your treats and leaving them dirty.
It's alright. Her vet uses peanut butter when
Absolutely.
they give shots, and she doesn't care one bit about shots or
Yeah.
anything else. It's like peanut butter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that is her.
Well, it's the same thing as like a football player. It's like you play football and you go out there and you get yourself smacked around a
What's he
bunch.
doing?
I
Right?
got a bunch of
Yeah.
different
Picking up all your
peanut
food,
butter
huh?
treats,
Come.
but I also have I have a Kong. I'll put peanut butter, smooth,
Yeah.
whatever it is, not crunchy.
Good.
Peanut butter in that Kong. She loves that too.
Can you lay down? All I'm doing here for the lay down is I'm just putting my hand in such a way. She knows the treat's there because she can smell it, but I'm putting it in such a way that she can't get it out because it's pinched between my thumb. And I'm going to keep luring her down until she decides to lay down. Lay down. If she doesn't, then I'm going to keep the food, right? Because I have to pass the test for you, but that doesn't mean I get to fail the test for you, right?
Oh, there.
Good.
Look at that.
And then as soon as she
Look
laid
at
down,
that.
I reward it because she did an action, and so I give it food. And then that actually causes the brain to remember what action did I do, and it helps. It's a memory agent,
Yeah.
and so it grows new brain cells in the pathway of that is required in order to lay down, and especially after the signal, which is I say lay down, right? So lay down.
Oh,
Good.
look at
See how much less time it took that time? It's because it worked. I mean, like it's just regular brain function, and I just get to teach people about it.
Repetition.
Look,
Well, it was 2 repetitions though. It wasn't a ton, you know.
when you
She was
get
terrible.
done and you leave,
Uh-huh.
I can't imagine her staying, doing just what you.
It's going to regress. It's going to regress immediately as soon as I leave. Now, probably not. It might not today because she's probably going to be so worn out that she's
Yeah.
going to sleep for the rest of the day, and that happens regularly. But the thing about it is this is a context to her, and what part of the reason that this is happening is because I have established an identity of stable leader, and what I need you guys to do is to establish that same identity. So that's what we're going to do going forward, is talking about how are you going to do this.
Well,
And then
and the cane is coming out.
the cane is a good thing, and that is a tool that we use to get a dog to go away, to block them, to basically get them to retreat, right? And then, but we also need advance, which is the leash, right? And so if you can get a dog to go away from you, you can get a dog to come to you, and you can teach the dog how to walk You can get a dog to move with you and everything. That's a trained dog. If you can get him to stay somewhere whenever you want, it doesn't have to be these specific exercises. The idea is I just want you to move in the ways that I want you to move. And if you're not where you can cause a problem, then I don't need to teach you specifically to leave alone one particular item. You know, like I can just not give you access to it. So we can do all sorts of good things when we have the ability to move a dog towards us, away from us, and move with us.
Yeah, I don't see, I mean, you know, I get what you're saying, Carol, but I don't see, you know, a real, you're starting to hurt. Do you
A
need to
little
get
bit.
your sling?
No, I'm good.
You can do.
I don't see that I'm gonna have as much trouble as I thought I was gonna.
You're not.
Because for one thing, yeah, the leash will help if I know somebody's coming. However, if I don't, if I've got that cane, I can put the cane between me and between me and her at the door, and it'll basically do the same thing without getting all excited
Right.
and
when-
going, you know, stay, get back, you know, all that kind of stuff. All I gotta do is use that, and it'll do the same thing and stay calm. And that's the secret, is to
And
just
when you open the door, you won't have to stand up there and fight her to stay back, stay back.
yeah, no,
You create
there's not
some
gonna
space.
be any of that.
Yeah.
And it's like
let me,
I see
let
it-
me elaborate about that real quick. So we're gonna open the door. So first of all, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna, right. So first,
Oh, who's there?
fantastic.
Who's at the door?
So what I want you to think about is we want to create what's called a negative marker for the dog. That's whenever I'm saying that you cannot do whatever it is that you're trying to do. So I'm going to go nope. I always use nope. N-O-P-E, nope. Right? And the reason I use nope is not because of what the dog hears. Nope. I didn't give you that treat. I neglected it. But it's mine still until I give it to you. Right? So I use nope because of what it does in the human brain. It's very difficult for you to get into the wrong state of mind when you're using nope instead of no. So you will always be very matter of fact or very gentle with the situation, because I don't really want you getting angry at the dog. It doesn't do you any good. That makes you look less dominant. If I have to get angry, in order to get what I want, I'm less dominant. If I can calmly get what I want, then people are just like, I don't know the limits of that person, but they always get what they want, and they never get stirred up about it. They don't have to work very hard to do it. That's dominant, right? Dominant is just the ability to exercise your will and for it to turn out, right? And that doesn't have to be a negative thing. That can be a very good thing. Probably most of the heroes that you can think of all were hyper dominant people. So it's just a tool, right? So whenever I need her not to walk out the door,
I mean, look at her. She's not even going.
when I need her to not walk out the door is I claim the door. So I get in between and I say, you, dog, this is mine. Don't access it until I've given you the ability to. And now the fact that she's being very nice about it, I'm going to go ahead and give her this peanut butter so I don't have to hold it anymore.
Good girl.
But so I start to train this as an exercise, as something that we do consistently, right? It's crooked. Something that we do consistently, and then we eventually get to the point where I can start taking a lot of the careful care off of it, because I can start to trust the dog. Another way that you could do this in this situation from where you sit is that you have that leash and you just put it underneath your foot. And then you start telling her nope, nope. Whenever you tell her nope, whenever she is getting to the point where she's about to hit the end of the leash. And we're going to do the same thing whenever we walk, because I want her to start
I think
thinking.
she was looking for more treats more than the door being opened.
Well, maybe, but the fault that she made, whether she meant to or not, was approaching the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you don't get to do that. Now,
Nope.
eventually, as I trust the dog more, I would like to get to the point where she doesn't have any sort of issue from me until she gets right here, because this is the limit. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that, make this the limit. If you don't feel comfortable with that, make this the limit.
I
Whatever
like
she
number
can
2.
handle, whatever she can handle, and that'll change over time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. As
So
she
with you
becomes
stepping on that
calmer,
leash right now, I don't have to do anything except for just communicate to her, and that gives me the opportunity to install what I call a marker. And a marker is something that just marks a moment in time to let the dog know what it is that I'm talking about, right?
yep,
So if I want to do the same activity, I can stop paying attention to the dog, and I will just step on as much leash as is necessary. That as soon as she gets over to the door, the collar will do its job, and that's it. That's all I got to do, and it doesn't require any strength. It doesn't require any capability. She's just finding out that her boundary right now is as much leash as I've given her, and you see she's not pulling on the end of the leash because there's a consequence for her if she pulls. No consequence for me.
typically
Just her.
I open the door for
Mhm.
people. And for that reason, I like the cane because of the fact that I can't
Right. And that,
take her with the leash over to the door to open the door. So 90% of the time, it would be the cane would be what I would use.
that is exactly how I would do it too. This is just another method.
Yeah.
This is a method that whereas like if I want to leave my door open because it's a nice day outside, which it is, and I want to just sit here with the door open, is I don't have to stand at the door guarding it.
Never thought of
You
it.
can also teach it from across the room if you have a leash that's long enough. This one is 9 feet, 9.5 feet or something like that. And so she can get almost everywhere in this whole place, and you could still address her if you absolutely need it. So you still have control. You have the final say on everything, but you don't need to micromanage, and you also don't need to put yourself in a situation where you are oppressed by your rules either.
Yeah.
You know, so you can sit there and watch TV, and you just put this thing around your ring finger, and just hold it. And then if she tries to go out the door and everything, she's going to hit the end of the leash, and she's going to find out I don't get to go outside the door. And then we
being
continue to-
oppressed by my own rules.
It's a good phrase, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very good phrase for me.
I'm a wordsmith.
Yes, you are.
That's so that's what we're doing. But I mean, like we now have complete control over door rushing, and now the door but I have complete control over it.
I can't believe
It's not that she's trained completely. It's she's trained that I require these things, and so now you just have to do the same. Now that's another reason why. Nope. See how I use the I use the barrier. That's you don't, nope. So the nope comes before whatever I'm doing to discourage. And if the nope always comes before the discouragement, then the nope becomes the information. The discouragement doesn't necessarily even have to happen, because if I say nope and she immediately is like, okay, I get it, and she disengages, then I don't have to correct her.
Yeah.
Right? So if you give them the chance, to understand first and to make good choices, and you give them the space to actually make the choice, then a lot of times they'll make the right choice, and then you get to spend your time telling them how wonderful they are instead of telling them how horrible they are. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the difference is we need to be consistent. Principle number 3.
Yeah.
Consistent. And part of being consistent is I need to make sure that she never does get it fully wrong without the information being communicated.
Mm-hmm.
So if she all of a sudden sees a squirrel outside the door and she decides to run and everything, like, she'll make it out the door, but there's going to be a loud noise, and there's going to be a pull at the end of the leash, and she's going to hit the end of that leash, and then I'm going to calmly sit here and be like, that was the wrong answer, come back over here. And then and so I don't even get stressed. I don't go, no, you know, I don't do any of that.
There you go.
Right?
That would be me.
Right. That's almost every person that I ever talk to, so it's fine. It is normal, because when we talk to human beings think enough in their front brain, in their forebrain, their prefrontal cortex, to know that when somebody's acting erratic like that they're communicating some bit of information about something that's dangerous, and so they have a tendency to halt. Right? When a dog hears it, it's just barking. One interesting fact about dogs is dogs do not bark to communicate anything in specific. It's here I am and this is my energy. If the bark is high pitched and rhythmic, it's that is I'm excited and I want to go pursue something. I want it to engage with me. I want to play the game of chase. That's why you hear that whenever they see the squirrel. They go, oh, 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 way up here at the top of their register, whatever their register is. Now, whenever the dog is afraid, they go, oh, 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 you know, and they bark like that. It's erratic, and it's at the bottom of their register. So if this was a small dog, that'd be about what we're dealing with. And now, that just says, here I am, and this is the way I feel. But they're not saying, squirrel. They're just saying, hey, here I am. I'm excited. Here I am. I'm excited. If you want to engage with me, this is what you got going on here. So whenever the dog gets excited about something, and we go, no, 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 unless that verbal bit actually has meaning to the dog yet, because we've installed it properly, then it's just barking. And now all you're doing is adding more energy to your already energetic dog. So that's why I said that if I could just duct tape people's mouths shut, their dog will start behaving better automatically.
I've noticed a difference since she fell and since I saw Ezra the last time. I've been a lot calmer, and it's been. I have noticed some change already.
Right.
I mean, it's nothing drastic, and it certainly wasn't the door and all that stuff. That stuff has still been going on, but there's been a lot. I mean, she's calmed down considerably from what she was.
Right.
Because that scared me. I mean, it threw me. It was like, you know what? I don't want to see her go, but
Right.
I can't keep her if I can't get this under control.
Well,
And so I started calming down already. But
do you feel confident at this point that you can control the situation?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Well, we always get it done.
I know
The
it
only
sounds
reason we
crazy, but I really do feel like I've got what I
Absolutely.
need as far as.
And you do. And in fact, before we leave, I want you to get up and walk her. And I'm gonna. In fact, how are you going? Can you stand for a good period of time?
Yeah, I can be up for a while.
10 minutes.
Oh,
And walk her
at
up.
least.
Up
Oh,
and down the sidewalk
Okay,
here.
good. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm not
wanna
that
assume or
bad,
anything. No.
and I'm trying. And the deal is that I don't want to be tying her out back. I want to be walking her always, and I want to get stronger. So there's only one way to do that.
Let's get to some of the movement stuff. So we've already seen the door, and it was very anticlimactic because I've got respect. I told her needs to have the respect that you owe me.
Yeah.
Well, it's literally what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like I want to impart the respect that you give me to this barrier, and she goes, "Yes, sir," and that's it. And I ain't had to beat her for it, you know. It's just one of those
It's
things.
amazing how.
So I'm gonna actually set this up out here.
Go near it.
I'm gonna set this up out here, and
Okay.
we're gonna watch and find out if she is minding the barrier, and then we can see about walking, because that's the biggest thing that you guys need addressed. Is you guys need to be able to walk her safely, and you need to be able to potty her without her having to be tied out, and we can fix that right now too.
Oh, I really
mean, it's
don't
pretty
like
much-
that door open.
Huh? You don't like it?
Don't worry about it right
No,
now.
it's not.
Yeah, no, it causes you anxiety.
No, it's. I did vacuum, and you wouldn't know that I did.
Oh, don't worry
Oh.
about that.
It's like, oh my god, I gotta empty the vacuum cleaner and vacuum again. And
This
then-
is what my family would have said in response to that. Is like, how important do you think you are that we care about your floor?
Ooh.
That's the kind of dominant ladies that I grew up with. They'd be like, do you really think that we pay any attention to your floor?
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
glad you don't.
Well,
but it's
and-
like,
and so
oh
you
my
see-
god,
you
it's
see that-
humiliating
That
to
sort
me.
of confident behavior is securing to people because even though number one, I'm saying something that is very true, and number two, I'm not putting any sort of hesitation with it, and number three, I'm also stating that I feel like we're comfortable and that we're secure amongst each other, that I can say this and you're not going to
Sure.
hate me
Yeah,
for
I
it.
don't hate
Right?
it.
Exactly.
That the one thing about me,
These are
is
all-
you can't really offend me very easily.
Well, I believe that, and I trust that. So I'm gonna set this up, and
All right.
and we're gonna
I'm
see
gonna
how
go
that.
use the bathroom real quick while he's setting up. There is a thing. I thought there was.
How do we want to do this?
It's just that every so often when I'm back by the back door, I see this white. Oh, that's something. And it was like, well,
So you see, she couldn't even
Yeah.
see me,
yeah.
and she minded the door.
She didn't come anywhere, not even looking at the door.
Right. Don't jump. Still. Right. And now, when I want her to be able to go through the door, I lead her through. And if she only ever goes out this door ever for the rest of her life, whenever I'm walking through it as well,
Yeah,
then that's a full exercise.
that's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I can go. I'll be fine.
Well, and I don't have any problem whatsoever if you sit down for my
No,
my portion of this as well. So don't worry about
I
any of
thought
that.
you were gonna take a little longer, so I was gonna use the
No,
bathroom.
please,
But
go.
I don't need to use the bathroom.
No,
I mean,
please go ahead and do. And I'll just pause this for a second and we'll just hang out.
okay.
I don't punch a clock.
No.
No. If we run a little over, my wife fully expects me to talk too much. Come here, baby. Nope, come here. Come here. Good girl. Yes, that's a good
Oh,
girl.
look at there.
That's a good
Look
girl.
at there.
So you see, I did not get stirred up or excited.
Yeah.
I did not get stirred up or excited. And you see also she was pulling back against me and I just moved her.
Yeah.
So this is a bad thing. And I didn't realize that this was the collar that we were dealing with. But I ordered these things off the internet for my clients. And there's another one in there that is not this brand. But they came from overseas and they're not fully set up properly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so they have a capacity to pop loose. So I'm glad this happened now, while she's nice and calm. And you notice my answer to that was I was nice and calm,
Yeah.
and I did not make a big fuss
And she
over it.
didn't take off, you
Well,
know?
but if I'd have been like,
Oh, she might
should
have.
have taken off.
Yeah.
But so the best thing that you can possibly do under all circumstances is almost always stay calm. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this into a slip lead, and then we have security, and then after that, I will remedy the situation so that we don't have to do that again. Oh shit. So you notice both times I am walking through the door first, and that will be one of the things that we'll talk about. Pick this up so she
She's
doesn't
just
have-
gonna follow your every step.
Right, and you will have that as well. So, fun thing happened. The collar popped off. These are cheap. I have two different types in here. One of them I found out was cheap, and it was popping loose on my clients and everything. And
Yeah.
we were inside the house, and I pulled that one out. I have another one in here that is not like that. And not to mention, I'm going to get you guys the proper one that's the right size for her. But
Where can you get it? At Rural King, or where do you have to go?
I like the ones at Tractor Supply.
Oh, I've never been.
This is the ones, and this one won't pop loose. It's made more securely and all of that.
Okay.
So anyway, so she was without a leash outside.
She had
for
no
a quick
leash and
second.
she went over there in the mulch.
Yeah, so which is a mistake.
And that's
they're
as
like,
far as she
that's
went.
no good for me as a trainer. But what I'm going to say is that the collar
She's
popped
not
off.
a runaway dog.
The collar popped off, and what did I do? You tell her what I did.
Yeah.
What did he do?
Like, how did I act?
He didn't. I mean, no excitement at all. No.
Yeah,
Just
no,
come here.
I just
Come here.
I just kneeled down and I'm like, come here, and everything, and she
And
came,
she
right,
came
over,
right
and I
over.
grabbed her thing, and then that was it. And that goes to show the idea. Now, had I been like, and gotten all excited about it, she'd been like, something's wrong, and she'd start avoiding,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so, even in that situation that should not have happened, and I agree, should not have happened, what the best answer you always have is to be is just to pretend like nothing's wrong, and then the dog will believe that nothing's wrong. So these ones 100% still got the tag on, and I know that this is the right one, and so we're going to swap that out real quick and not have this mistake again. So I apologize about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, no, it needs to
Do
be
you need
addressed.
me to go get one real fast for her?
No, this is fine, and I'm gonna go get one and I'll deliver it to you. Come here, sweetie. So when we're putting collars on, see, I'm doing this in exactly the hardest and worst situation. What we do is we have security. I'm standing on the leash.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, she just gets to the end
Get
of the
out
leash
of the
and
mulch.
I have to reel her in.
Ellie, out of the mulch.
So this is how we dress that.
Out of the mulch.
So you see, while she was in the mulch, the stick was coming after her. As soon as she was not in the mulch, the stick went away.
Yeah.
That's communication, right? And so I don't really care anything past that, because the only thing I'm trying to tell
We
you,
have kind of a neighborhood rule.
the
No
only,
mulch.
the
Yeah.
only thing I'm trying to tell her is just don't be in the mulch.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the rest of the information is not, so whenever I'm communicating these things, I want to communicate exactly what I feel. So you see, the collar's made into a slip lead,
Yeah.
right? So we have control, minimal control that we need. Now that the collar's on the slip lead, I put the other collar on first, and then I'm going to take this other one and clip it to the collar, never letting the dog have, I'm not relying on my hand, and then I'm going to loosen this thing up and slip it over her neck, right? And that's not anything you're going to have to focus on. I just want to illustrate how we think about these things. It's like the dog does not deserve to have the opportunity to fail.
Mm-hmm.
If the dog has the opportunity to fail and then it fails, that's our fault, not the dog's. Doesn't mean that we don't
Yeah.
still tell them that they did
Yeah.
the wrong thing, but we got to take responsibility for it. And all of my stuff is all about personal responsibility. It's like
Okay,
whatever
you're gonna
rules
walk
the
down
dog,
the sidewalk.
whatever rules the dog.
Yes, I am. I'm going to put this out.
No, you can stay there. We've got a whole cigarette's worth of me showing you some things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just take your time, and I'm gonna set this back up so that it can record me out here. Dude, this little flip phone is the best because
I have never seen one like that.
well, they just came out with them not too long ago. This is like the. There we go. This is like the. I think this is the 5th iteration of them because they were trying to make them work right. Come here.
See, this is what she's used to
Right.
doing.
Now
Jump
you-
it up here with me.
Now you notice, so what she was doing is she was trying to use you as a shield, and she was saying, I don't wanna, right? And now whenever they go and hide behind somebody and everything, what they're trying to do is they're trying to put themselves in a situation where it's easy to bite somebody.
Really?
It's not always the case, it's very often the case.
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
So-
not her. Not so much
And
her.
so, when we're talking about that, what we want to do is if a dog is like getting defensive and like running away from somebody and they're using us as a shield, we that's being used as the shield need to say, no, you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And if you come from that and say, hey, you don't get to be anxious in my space, because that's what we talked about earlier,
Right.
that's the answer. So, now that we're outside, we want to walk, right? And now there's distraction.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You're welcome to be around. Any extra distractions are good for us. We're doing dog training, so you're welcome to be around. So now we want to learn how to meet people, right?
Right.
And it's the same thing as inside. It's just happening outside. So I have 2 different things. I just ask that you don't pet her till I tell you to. Nope.
No.
So what we're going to learn is that when people walk up, you don't get to just jump up on them,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Now, if that's all it ends up being, because sometimes people will just pass by, and that's fine. So at maximum, you need to stay calm. Or I'm sorry, at minimum, you need to stay calm when anybody, whether you know them or not, comes around. You don't need to go
Right.
all crazy. And so I did that by literally just holding onto the leash and not allowing her access. Right? Now, had she gotten to a point where she started to stay calm already, then I'll say, okay, now you can pet my dog. Right? And even though she went to pet anyway,
I can't hear.
that's fine. I just held the leash back. I just didn't let the dog get to her.
Right.
And she saw what that was. Even though she didn't hear me, she saw the nonverbal things, just like we talk about with the dogs. And so she didn't pursue it any further.
Yeah.
And that's good enough. It's good enough for us. So when we're walking,
Until you're gone.
no, you'll be surprised.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, you'll be very surprised. So when we're walking, there's a couple of things that I want. I want number one, I want you guys to install the nope word.
Nope.
And the reason we're going to do nope before she hits the end of she hits the end of the collar, not as she's hitting the end of the collar, before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start walking, and nope. What I want is I want her to hear nope and mean like I need to check back in with the human, right?
Right.
So this is going to be very hard because she's already doing too well, right? It's going to be hard to find opportunities to get her to hear that word and know that it means something. But so another one we can do instead is we can do walking. I use the word walk. You can use potato. I don't care what it is. Dogs don't speak English. So what I want to do is I want to give her a signal that says that we're walking now and I need you to walk with me, right?
Okay.
And I just use the word walk because if I'm going to walk, I'm going to say walk, and that is what it is. And I find out that I actually do it with my 3-year-old as well. We crossed the street this morning and I'm like, wait, and she's waiting and she's holding my hand and everything. And then whenever it was time to go, me, my wife, the 4-month-old and the 3-year-old, I said, walk. And then I took off across the street, right?
Right.
So all I'm doing to teach her to walk with me is I'm going the opposite way she's going, right? Now this is going to be something that you're going to have to do a little more actively because you're probably not going to move as quickly as I am, and that's fine. But what I'm going to give you a little more permission than usual to use the leash with your hand, right? So we have a dog. So we're going to learn how to address dogs.
There's another.
Yeah, and as
they don't get along.
And as that's fine.
Oh no, he's afraid of her, so he'll stay away.
Yeah, he's afraid of her.
Right. And so
he's an old man, and
as she's being calm, there's no information. Now, if she gets overly intent or anything like that, then I'd say nope, and then just break her concentration. And as soon as she starts paying attention to it less, then everything's fine again.
he'll start to like her as soon as she's more calm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
He's just afraid of her. She's usually so.
She knocks people over.
Yeah.
Of course. He knows that without having seen the situation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he can see her energy.
Mm-hmm.
And he can say that this manic, crazy, weird energy is what gets people hurt. And that's true.
Yeah.
We know it. Right?
Yeah.
So what I want you to be able to do is, and I'll try to move slowly so that I can show you in real time. But whenever I'm leaving, I'm just going to say walk, and I'm going. I'm not going to go any faster. I'm not going to slow down any if she doesn't come with me. What I say is walk, and that means that I'm leaving and the leash is going to get short. So you better move with me. And I'm saying that with my body. Now, the walk is just a signal, right?
Right.
Now, the rule is, whenever I'm walking, I want a dog to walk behind me.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely. In order for me to be leading in the dog's mind, I have to be ahead.
Uh-oh.
A leader doesn't lead
Thought
from
of that.
behind, not in dogs.
Right.
So, whoever's out front is determining the direction and the speed and all of these things that you need to be determining, right? So, whenever I was dealing with dozens and dozens of dogs a day, and we had to walk down this long, narrow hallway, if the dog was, their shoulders were behind my hips, the dog never darted down the hallway. The moment their shoulders got in front of my hips, the dog would take off like a bolt.
Ah.
And it happened over and over and over and over again, almost 100%
Never
of the
knew
time.
that. I always kept
I
them
didn't either. I
by
always had
my
him in front of
side.
me. I
Yeah,
always had him in front of me.
by the side is fine. As long as the shoulders, their front shoulders, don't get in front of your hips. Now, once they get any further back than that, all the dog's brains click off, and like now I'm leading, and they'll go in whichever way they please, and at whatever speed they please. So whenever I'm walking a dog, I say walk and I move, because a leader doesn't ask permission. Nope. And if she gets ahead, I will either give her a pop on the leash. I'll say nope and then pop, which is what I would prefer you not do, but if you need to, do it. But the other thing I'll do is I'll walk, and as soon as she gets ahead of me, I'm going to say nope, and I'm just going to stop. Nope.
Gotcha.
And if, when you're teaching the dog to walk, nope. What I want you to do is not try to get somewhere. Don't try to get somewhere. Your job is to teach the dog how to move with you at whatever speed you're moving, at whatever direction you're moving, your decision.
Mm-hmm.
You have 3 layers of brain and she has 1. You need to make all the decisions. And that's what it is. And so whenever I want her to move, nope. Nope. I just want her,
Get out there and walk.
I just want her
Come on.
looking, well,
I will when he's ready for me.
right. Yeah. I want her paying attention to my movement, not anything else. So if the squirrel becomes more important than staying close to me, then she hits the collar. If the dog gets more important than her staying close to me, then she hits the collar. If your presence becomes more important to her than staying close to me, she hits the collar. So all I'm doing is just saying, where I'm going should be the most important thing to you
Right.
when I say walk. Now, if I haven't said walk and I just start existing with the dog, then she can be wherever she wants as long as she's within the leash,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't have to. But I mean, you'll see very shortly, she'll just, nope.
She's probably got to go potty.
Yeah, maybe. You'll see very shortly that she's just going to start hanging around me. And that's another reason why I like the big long ones, is because I do want the dog sometime to have plenty of freedom, but to just generally stay in my vicinity. And this is how we get off-leash outside behavior. We do it with a long line first, and we get the dog to show us that they can mind the barrier and stay close to me and listen to my words first before I start turning them loose off leash.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, I can't tell you how many dogs I've gotten off leash in 2 weeks.
Wow.
You know, now I'm a trainer, so I don't want you to do it that fast.
No.
I want you to keep the security in place until you feel so freaking comfortable.
Well,
Excuse
they're
my
supposed
language.
to be on leash here anyway. So
Fair enough, and if they need to stay on leash forever, that's also a perfectly fine thing.
Unless I can
But-
get her to a dog park.
Come on. So if I want her to just generally move with me and I don't want her to be in a structured walk, then I don't say walk. I just make noises or say come on or something else. You go potty? Go potty? So when I want to teach a dog to potty outside in a spot, I'll wait till they need to go. I'll take them to the spot, I'll say go potty, and then I don't interact with them at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Once she goes, I'm going to tell her she's wonderful and praise her like she won the Nobel Peace Prize because I said the word potty, and she did.
She does that a lot.
Yeah.
The rope.
Generally, just don't fix it, and they'll stop getting mixed up. But the potty.
The rope leash seems to not tangle as around her as much as the other one, but
That's because it's not long enough.
Yeah, I just want to encourage you to not worry about her feet so much.
yeah.
Just let her figure it out. Good girl.
Good girl, Ellie.
And that's where you teach a dog where to go potty. So I'll take her to the same spot each time. I mean, unless they're going to gripe at me about the grass dying, And I'll take her to the same spot each time, and I'll say, go potty, and we don't do anything until you go potty, and then whenever you do, I praise you, and now the dog learns to potty in a specific spot. And that's perfectly normal, natural. We do it all the time. I can't tell you how many dogs I've trained to go in only one spot.
Wow.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long. It's just consistency. Now, I would like, I don't need to teach you how to do this in all of the particular ways, but I want to see you doing it, and I want to see what it is that I can advise you on. Yeah. We'll do both of them.
This and this, and I think I'm good. I have, yeah, this hand is.
Yeah, so pinch that one, and then just have this in whatever way is comfortable for you to hold. But you're not going to lose control of her with that pinch, not with a collar on. Okay. So, and now I just want you to move as you normally move. Now when,
But she's supposed to be behind.
so what I'll have you do, I'll have you short down. When you start, so when you're dealing with leashes, short is specific and long is freedom, right?
Right.
So now you don't want to always be super specific because that's too much tension. She doesn't have any freedom whatsoever. She's just constantly on edge because she's going to hit the end of the collar. And if she hits the end of the collar too many times, it'll start to mean less to her, right? So, but when you're training it at the beginning, I would rather you keep it a little right here. And then, so if she gets ahead, she'll hit the end of the collar. Now put your hand down and relax. What one of the things that people normally do that I teach them not to is they do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to do that. Give it a little more slack. I would sometimes even hold it foregrip like this. A little more slack and everything because I don't want her getting freaked out with you. I would rather her have a little bit, and that way and I lost my train of thought. Sorry. But if you have this, if you're doing this number, now you're telling her she's wrong over and over and over again. I want your hand to relax. Even if you got to shake your hand out to remind yourself. And then I want you to move with your feet.
Funny how you don't even notice you're doing something.
You don't. We all had to break ourselves of it in dog training school, and our instructor waited and let us mess it up a whole bunch, just to prove that we don't even know that we're doing it right. You know. So just say you're walking and then leave. You're not asking her.
Walk.
And if it's and you have to draw a line of good
Yep.
enough. If it's something that's functional for you and it's good enough, that's okay. And if she's walking politely and she's in front of you, then I can live with that. You know, what I don't want is I don't want her pulling. And you can see she's already not pulling. Put your hand down.
Yep, I saw.
Yeah.
I'll catch myself.
Now, whenever she starts not paying attention to you, I want you to stop. There you go. Now, as soon as she's paying attention to you, then start moving again. Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Now she's lost attention. Stop. There you go. Now go ahead.
Huh?
If she jumps up on you, feel free to pop that leash. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I don't want her jumping on you uninvited. Get used to stopping as the way of correcting her. Just say nope and then stop, and then whenever she hits the end of the leash, that's on her. If you get used to saying nope and then stopping, then that's the signal of like you're gonna have to stop and pay attention to me.
Nope.
But get used to saying the word first and then doing the motion.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. Don't think I'm belittling it.
Yeah, but it's like,
Say nope, and then stand still. And then when she calms down, then you can
Nope.
try to. All right. See how she's like this. That's no go. We don't do that. When you see that, it's too intense. It's a bad energy, and I want you to interrupt that energy by popping up. You're not gonna hurt her. Stop. Remember, we're not worried. We're not worried about getting it. Here's what I'll have to do. This will help you. This will help you. You take the end of the leash, you hold on there. Once you get over in the more slacky direction, pop the meat. Not hold.
oh,
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to hold it tight, and I want you to say, I want you to go, nope, pop.
nope,
Right. There you go. That's what I want. And I want you to do it 10 times in a row. Nope. Nope first, then pop. Nope first, then pop.
nope.
Right?
It's a habit.
You
Nope.
gotta build the habit.
No. Nope.
So that's what I want you to do. And so now I want you to keep that length of leash. So she's got a little bit more. And I'm okay with her having a little bit of leash. And I want you to get used to saying walk and then leaving. And then for no reason at all, I want you to say nope and stop. And I want you to just like stop on every line. So walk and then take off without asking.
Walk. Nope.
Yeah, and so
Walk. Nope.
yeah. And if you can start, instead of looking for the line, look for when she passes you.
Mm-hmm.
That would be ideal. If it doesn't get to be all that, it's not the end of the world. All I really want is for her to realize that whenever she starts taking off and trying to go on her own way, you're just going to stop because you're in charge. Like, you don't get to go ahead if I am not on board.
Right.
That's what I want you to be telling her with your body language, and I want you to use the words to tell her what your body language is going to be.
You keep wanting to go to that
Can
side.
do you feel comfortable like moving through her? Like just keep walking while she's in your way? Or is that too unstable for you?
Probably all right.
Okay, because
Well-
that's what I do. I literally, like, I'm willing to run over a dog. Because
No.
because if they get to the point to where
Walk.
Hmm?
Keep back and relax. Nope.
Are you feeling anxious?
Not in so much as her, as much as it's about me doing things in the proper order.
Okay, well, remember, you don't have to get it right because I'm here. And remember also, you're never going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I mess it up. I've messed it up dozens of times already today. What you want to be is, on average, generally honest with the dog. And this is you in charge, not me in charge. There you go. I like what you did there. You decided to use your hand instead, and you did it because she was starting to head a direction you didn't want to go.
Walk. She would stay behind me.
So, here's another thought on that. This is. I'm not saying this is the right answer. This is just a thought. So one of the things that I do sometimes to keep a dog behind me is I'll put the leash behind me. So one of the things that I always talk with people who have stability issues is if you put this on your seat right here and you hold it there, if the dog decides to go and you can kind of just sit on the leash a little bit, then no dog is going to pull a full-grown human being over if they're pulling them over at their seat,
Right.
right? And also that'll let you keep this short enough, hopefully, that she will not get ahead of you, right? The hard part about it is if you have it short enough that she can't get ahead of you, then you don't have as much slack to get it figured out. Do you want to try that, or because I don't want you to do it if it makes you feel uneasy.
No, I want her behind me, and I'm not managing to get that.
Now, as we go forward, if you want to do the cane thing too, there's a technique that will help them stay behind as well. With the cane. These are all problem solving. There is no right answer. It's what can we do that works. So tighten that leash up even a little bit more. There you go, right there. And that way, if she does get ahead, stop, and then she'll find out that getting ahead is what makes mom stop. Relaxed hand. But you see, it's still not like it's a decent amount of improvement right off the bat.
No. Get down. No.
There you go. Perfect. That poke is what I wanted to see. I didn't even tell you.
I want to keep the hand by my side.
Yeah, so what I do is I press it to my side.
She
How I trained myself is I took it and I pushed it to my hip.
She keeps wanting to step right in front of me.
Yeah, I would run over her. There you go. So whenever I was in puppy play camp, there was 90 dogs at a time in the puppy play camp. And they had a big side and a little side, right? So you get over on the big side, there's a lot of poundage of dogs in there. You know, we had some dogs that were 160 pounds. And so, and they all wanted to crowd the gate. So you come through the gate, and they're all trying to dash out and everything. But whenever I was in there, they didn't do that. And part of the reason is whenever I opened up that door, I was coming through. I didn't hesitate. And whenever I walked through the pile of dogs and everything, I did not move around them. I moved where I was going. Yeah. And they would get out of my way. When they didn't get out of my way, they got run over a little bit. Yeah. And that only happened once with each dog. And then they're like, nope, this guy doesn't care, you know? Yeah. And so if you have a dog that will not get out of your way and especially is trying to herd you, trying to keep you from moving, which sometimes that's what little dogs like that do, is they'll get in front of you because they're trying to keep you from moving. And so you either A, cause a consequence for that, or you do the natural consequence of just move through them. And then they'll be like, oh, that didn't work. So we'll quit that. Yeah. Changed things, didn't it? I don't really want to do anything nasty to the dogs or anything, but at the same point, I don't want to avoid the dog getting a natural consequence. That is the most honest thing. Yeah. And the most honest thing is you get in front of me, you're going to get run over. You know? Don't get in front of me, otherwise there's a consequence. And just not adjusting to the dog is the maximum way to communicate that. Like, I just don't adjust to you, you adjust to me. You know? It's because I'm a human, you're a dog. That's okay. Doesn't mean dogs are bad, it just means that they're not priority to me. You know? And I encourage you guys to have that sort of thing in your system, you know, it's just like, no, I am worth more than a dog.
Well, I've walked her before. I didn't have a problem.
Yeah, well, and some people.
Well, she has trouble walking, period. Right. So.
Right. Well, now if she has the excuse to go work with the dog and everything, then hopefully we'll improve.
Yeah, improve her walking too. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So. What I'll have you do, I'm gonna. Do you feel I understand that this is not as smooth as you want yet.
It's not as smooth, but
But-
I feel
but
better.
you feel in control.
Yeah.
Like,
I
so
feel
if I
like-
was not standing here watching you, do you still feel like you would have the bravery to
I
get out
just
there
have
and
to
do it?
keep my hand relaxed, but make sure she's
Yeah.
staying back and stopping if I have to stop.
And if you at any point in time want me to come out here and help you with it more, I can do that.
Okay.
I think that you have what it takes at this point to do enough to where you continue to make progress. The idea is, the mentality I want you to have is that you're making the decisions. You're deciding when we move, where we move, if we move. And it's you. You're in charge.
Okay.
And if she decides to do something different, then we just don't get to go further. And I'm fine with that. Now, eventually, she'll get to the point where she starts walking politely, and this gets to be boring, trying to dart out after everything, because it never works out. Dogs do things that work, and they stop doing things that don't work. So, we just control that. So, I'm going to show you a couple other things while we still have time. I don't know where we're at on our time,
I don't either.
but I'm not punching the clock, so it's not a big deal.
Well,
So when you get to cane,
mhm.
this can get a lot better, right? So this is going to be my cane now, right? So I'm
Right.
going to hold it like this, and since you can stabilize yourself well enough without the cane,
Yeah, I don't need.
then you can use it as a tool.
I
right?
find the cane a problem,
Yeah.
actually, so I wouldn't use it for walking.
So if we're walking like this with the cane, and she gets ahead, do you notice she stopped to scratch and I just
Mhm.
she gets ahead? I'm just going to move the cane over and walk.
Okay.
That is the easiest way to keep a dog behind you if you don't
Yeah.
move fast.
The only problem is then you're one-handed with the leash, but I guess, until you can get her to stay where she needs to stay, that's probably the smartest thing.
So yeah, and now the one-handed with the leash thing is a little tricky, and if you don't feel very, very confident with the other hand, that's a problem to solve. And I'm just going to say that. But that's one of those things where I would say doing some walking in the house with the door closed, where you can't really have a massive failure, like she can't get loose. She might be
Good
able to
point.
get loose from you, but she's not going to get loose in total.
Well, and
Then you
honestly,
can practice that.
the getting loose doesn't scare me out here either.
So you see how I'm just doing that? And then just like I am with all the other things, this is your barrier. I'm using the stick to illustrate where the barrier is. Don't get in front of her.
And she's not going up there.
Yeah, and so if she starts to cross behind me too, I can get her out from underneath my feet with the cane.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And honestly, this is a great way to teach walking, because I can make a dog do all sorts of interesting things, like this whole. Oh. So you see freaking out? I just don't do anything. She gets it figured out. So I'm going to gently move her with the stick, and I can put her exactly where I want. If I want her to get in front of me, I could continue to do this, because she can't go away. And now she's in front of me. I want her to get back behind me. She's going to start to figure out that she doesn't need to freak out.
God love her.
That face.
Now, if she starts freaking out and you give her slack, she'll keep doing it, right? She'll eventually she'll learn pretty quickly that the freaking out doesn't fix it. So if I want her to not freak out with the stick, I need lots of repetitions where all I'm doing is just kind of standing here and
Do anything to get away from that stick.
yeah, I've never done anything. So you see that, like, I've never done anything to her with the stick, but she's avoidant in that sort of frantic way. That's
Yeah.
a lack of exposure, not somebody hit me with a stick once. And most of the time, the freak out is just from inexperience more than anything. So what we need to do is just handle our dogs more whenever we have that thing, And they need the information that me freaking out and running away doesn't actually fix my problem. So you see, you can gently use, but when we're walking, she doesn't have the opposite. Hey, hold down. I was not intending for you to get that strong of a correction, young lady. But as we're walking, this thing is not going to freak her out as much because she doesn't have as much brain space to freak out about it. Although, I can see a potential issue with that. I don't really want her freaking out against the stick. So this is why we figure these things out ahead of time. Is we give them a try, is because I don't want to find out. I don't want you finding out at the edge of the concrete that this is the wrong idea. So I'm not saying that the stick thing is the greatest idea. It's one of those things where you can try it, but there's a risk.
It's definitely worth a try.
Yeah.
Just to keep her back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you notice while we were like walking, it's not that big a deal.
No.
I can just kind of hover it. She's a very sensitive dog. She doesn't need a whole lot. Nope. So she went to go the wrong way. I said nope, and then I keep moving. Nope. The idea is I want her to keep hearing that nope and knowing that it means that the collar's going to tighten. It means stop what you're doing and pay attention to me. That's what nope means. Now, eventually you get to the point where a dog shows up and you say nope, and they're like, oh, okay, what? Right? So it doesn't have to be specific. It's anytime you want them to stop what they're doing and look at you. The thing is if I say nope and they don't fix the problem, then I have to be willing to let the collar shorten up. And that even if I have to do it manually. So I want to take a minute and give you guys some time to ask questions, see if there's anything else we want to address while I'm here. But we've got understanding pretty firmly about what happens inside the house, right?
Yeah.
You feel comfortable
The
with
door thing, it feels good. I think the walking is going to take a lot of practice, and some indoors might help. But I think that, I think I can manage the outdoors now. It's just going to take her and I getting used to it, and I got to remember to keep my hand mostly relaxed and remember to say no first. And stop when I need to stop to get her to do what she's supposed to do. So it's going to be a practice thing.
Oh yeah.
But I think I've got the hang of it. I mean, I don't think there's anything.
I hope you understand that walking is one of those things that is never finished. It's always practice. My dogs have like full competition heels on them, and I spend enough time not doing it, and they get horrible at it, and I have to refresh it, resharpen it, and everything. And so if I just teach you how to
Well,
get
they've got places to run, so, right?
My dogs?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the point with that is that the running, being able, because I put them out in the backyard, and I've got like a third of an acre back there for them to run around in, and if they don't run around. So they just don't run around.
They don't?
No,
They just...
not that, but they go out and they go potty, and then they come back and they sit by the door because they want to come inside.
Oh.
Dogs don't need... We want to exercise our dogs for health, but not for behavior correction. And that's where I differ from a lot of trainers. They're like, oh, the dog needs exercise. There are some that in order to get through to them in a single day, you need to exercise them before you try to communicate with them. But then it's the communication that changes things, not the exercise.
I find that she's spending a lot more time going out and then coming back and laying on the porch until I come and get her.
Yeah.
And usually it's the length of a cigarette. I put her out back, I come out front, have a cigarette, and go back and get her.
Dude, those dogs, they learn so much. And it's when you're consistent, because the cigarette lasts the same amount of time. I smoked for a lot of years.
Yeah.
It lasts the same amount of time. And that was the biggest part about whenever I switched off of that to the little vapor things, is there wasn't a portion size anymore.
Yeah.
And so I just used it all the time, like all the time, and it didn't work out. But
So you don't vape anymore either?
I don't vape anymore either. No, I've got those little pouches in my lip, and I was completely off of everything for about 9 months, and I made a stupid decision. But I'm gonna get back there.
Well, I don't know that there's anything more that needs to be said. I think it's more about just practice.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty confident that I can get her out front, and that was what I was wanting to do, was to get her out front and get her off the back. Serious severe weather, when I get ice up to here, and sometimes I do, then it's not safe for me to take her out on the sidewalks.
Right.
And so I have it as a backup, but it's become the only thing I do now, and it's
Right.
not what I want to do. So I think I think we'll be okay. It's just gonna be a lot of practice.
Yeah.
So
And I want you to keep in mind, the dog getting off the leash is not the worst thing. So I would much rather you pinch it and not fall down. If you gotta let go of it, let go of it. That's
yeah,
that is what it is. And if she gets off leash and you can't get it figured, call me. I will come and help you to get back a hold of her.
I don't think that's a problem. I've been making it a problem.
For sure, we feel anxious.
So
about it.
I've been really gripping, and it's like, no.
Well, I want you to pinch hard. I want you to be willing to pinch hard, but you'll be amazed at how you'll loosen your grip, and you'll realize that I don't need to pinch hard, because if it starts slipping, I'll pinch later.
Yeah.
And then I'll eventually stop it. And that's, as long as it's going through my hand like this, it's got a long way to go before
Right.
I'll get rope burn before I forget to pinch it.
Yeah.
Before it comes out of my hand. And that's a perfectly fine thing. I also, when we're talking about dogs, I would like to also discuss the idea of teaching ourselves how to calm and lay down. And one of the ways that I like to do that is I just get a nice short amount of leash when I'm sitting down or something, and I'll just step on it. And that's the exercise, is that she needs to learn to just stand here or lay here or sit here and settle. I don't care which stand, sit, or lay. Those are never really that big of a deal. So I want her to learn how to do it right next to me and get used to the process of just being close to me and staying there. And then later on, I want to get to the point to where I can stand at the edge of the leash and she can learn to wander around and but it's still not me holding it and managing it with my hand.
Right.
How do you manage your freedom? And the way that I fix that is I just step on the leash and I let her have some freedom. And I see how she manages it. And if she gets to the point where she can't, and this also works holding on to it if you have the discipline to not use your hands, but or tie it to the chair or whatever you need. But the point is there's a boundary that you can't cross, and she gets to learn this is where I stay. And there's nothing wrong with her coming out and coming out for your breaks. And
that's the other thing. I have work to do out here, and it's been like, well, what do I do with her? Leave her inside while I'm doing all the work out here all the time. So if I've got a way that she can come out and just be out here with me, the good news is it's shaded and she can be out here for a bit.
When they come over, I live right across the street there. And when they come over and she brings Ellie, we got a bunch of us sitting there. I usually tie her leash to one of these rails, and she's got the whole porch.
great.
That's a good idea.
I think it's fine.
Good.
Yeah, she runs back and forth and says hello
It's
to
no different
everybody.
than tie out out back.
But she's
Better.
Yeah.
I mean, she likes everybody, and she has occasionally started to jump up on Tim's lap, but not much. And maybe Linda once, but she's Carol's. Carol is her reward. So if
Mhm.
if we go over there, she's Carol's.
Right.
You know, she's not mine anymore. For
Mhm.
that time, she's all Carol.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, I want her to spend more time outside, more time with neighbors, so it's not such an emotional thing for her every time. Because when she does get to come out, then she thinks it's like,
Right.
you know, then she gets so hyper.
It's the one and only time that I get to be around people. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's that thing.
Yeah.
So, but if you can't, a dog can't maintain that level of excitement every single time forever when it's happening all
she
the
finally
time.
relaxes, but it's like
Right.
if she was able to be out more, out here, out over there, visiting people, whatever, it would be far better for her. I just need, she just needs to learn how to be,
Well,
to know that
tired,
she's
baby?
going to
Are
have
you
this
tired?
opportunity
Are you tired?
more,
right.
and then relax about it.
And this is the answer. You get a long line
Yep.
to where if you need to say something to her, you can. If you need to give her a direction, you can, because you can always shorten that leash.
Good girl.
And then you give her much more exposure. And you do it more regularly. But you have to feel in control in order for that to be the
Well, that's the deal. I want her to have more exposure. I think everybody goes like, "Why don't you?" And it's like,
Well,
safety,
liability, right?
safety for me and everyone else.
And everyone else. But if you have the ability to make her come to you, because if you want to teach her recall, you just say come and you reel that leash in.
Mhm.
That it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. It'll work. And if she beats you to it and she comes to you, then she's a good dog. The end. She's a good dog either way. Even if you pass the test for her, you still tell her that she did it right, Because that's how you let her know what the right answer is.
Yeah, it would be.
So okay, I don't know what we have for
Now-
tonight,
now-
but if you're going to,
Sit,
Ellie,
sit. Good girl. No,
Down.
Sit.
I would be sparing with trying to make her stay in certain positions to avoid some other behavior. What I want you to do is I want you to nope her
okay,
and nope her and claim yourself. You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
like poke at her if you need to. It's just like if I claimed you in this situation. I'm going to go, nope. Now I didn't poke her to hurt her, but I said something very clearly,
Yeah.
right? And you could do an open hand if you needed to.
I do
Just
that
be
a
like,
lot.
nope. That's very clear.
or a finger.
Or yeah, the finger, you've heard me snap, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. There's no right answer as to which one you need to do. You need to do one that works, but petting in the middle of her acting pushy with you would be the thing that you don't want to do. Right.
Okay.
You want to establish that clear communication. Now you're okay. Now you're not. Right? Now you're behaving. Now you're not. And if you pet through while you're trying to get her to stop getting up in your space and everything, it'll confuse her, and then she'll think that that's what she's supposed to do. In fact, she'll do more of it and more intensely. So make that boundary clear. And again, after this episode, if you have an issue, first of all, if you have an issue, if you could take a video of it and send it to me,
Sure.
or you could just call me and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And I'll say, okay, are you doing this and this and this? And if I don't have to come out, I don't charge you for it. So you just have a question and everything. We've talked about all the principles.
Right.
Motivation, timing, and consistency is the key three. The consistency part that we didn't go over as much is just you need to do things consistently, and you also need to make sure that the failure point still comes with the information and we don't lose total control. Right? And then other than that, it's just keep doing more until it gets to the point where she stops offering you the wrong answer as much. She stops getting negative feedback because she's figured out what produces it. Because you're consistent. And that's it. I mean, that's dog training in a nutshell.
I don't want to run out of time. Are you going to go get a collar like now?
I could probably do that.
Or do you want
I'm gonna
me
let
to
you
go
keep.
with
I'm
you?
gonna let you keep that one till I bring you one. That one will work, and it's fine, and it'll come on and off just fine. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. If you...
I wanted to know about giving you some money for